President-elect Trump confirming his plan to declare a national emergency and that he plans to use the U.S. military to assist in mass deportations.
Look, if you're someone laboring under the illusion that this is somehow going to end up being a good thing, you must be historically illiterate. There are a bunch of chapters in human history that start with armed men in boots rounding up millions of civilian men, women, and children. None of those stories have happy endings. Now listen, this video will be going down a bit of a conspiracy theory rabbit hole with some dots that need connecting. So if you're one of those people that doesn't possess a couple of minutes worth of attention span, then shoot. Firstly, where does he think he's going to put them all? Because last I heard, he claims he's going to round up over 20 million people. And the president of Mexico has already clearly stated that he will not be sending anybody who isn't a Mexican citizen over the Mexican border. Now, the estimates say there's only about 5 million illegal immigrants from Mexico in the United States. And even if he successfully rounds up all of them, which will be extremely expensive and time-consuming, according to his own numbers, that still leaves him with 15 million people. Now, you might be aware that almost immediately after Trump got elected, private prison stocks started skyrocketing in value. That means that some people with lots of money and influence seem to believe that they're about to make a tidy profit from the private prison industry. That means a bunch of taxpayer money is about to be funneled into a bunch of corporate billionaire pockets in exchange for imprisoning a whole lot of people. Now, he's also proposing a bizarre plan to tariff all foreign imports that seemingly is designed to purposely cripple the American economy. See, the American economy is a consumer-based economy, so consumption is very vital. And since they don't actually produce the majority of the goods that they consume, it seems like consumption is about to get a whole lot less affordable. That's how that works. When you tariff foreign imports, the companies that import the goods have to raise the price to compensate for the tariffs they're paying in order to import them. Usually tariffs like that are intended to increase domestic production, but that can't possibly be the plan. See, even with the increased cost that the tariffs represent, moving production to America would still be more expensive, unless there was some sort of plan to magically create a massive domestic, more or less slave labor force overnight. But of course, it's not like there's some sort of precedence for using prison inmates as a cheap source of labor in America, is there? Is there? And you might be thinking, but this is the age of technology. Pretty soon they won't even need a human labor force at all. But of course, you'll still need a human labor force in the interim. And if you're making plans to completely restructure the entire infrastructure of the American consumer-based economy, you're probably gonna need a pretty substantial labor force to pull that off as well. Now, if only there were some sort of generic evil tech billionaire character with his fingers thoroughly in this pie already who had suddenly started showing enthusiasm for involving himself in politics, that would really tie all of this stuff together, wouldn't it? Now, I want to be perfectly clear. This video is wild speculation for entertainment purposes only. I am not an expert of anything. I'm just some guy on the internet, so what the hell do I know? That being said, you know those stories I mentioned in the beginning of the video? The stories about the armed men in boots rounding up millions of civilian people. Yeah, forced labor camps is like a disturbingly common destination where those stories have a tendency to end up. And the people in charge don't really tend to disclose that that's where they're intending the story to go in the beginning. And that's usually like a surprise twist at the end, which happens a lot, so I don't know why it keeps surprising us. But anyway, you should keep an eye on that.